Sawadika. So, what I want to talk about today was the dating situation. This is a video targeted at single guys, expats, Farang. And as I've said before, a Farang isn't an American or a European. Farang doesn't mean white. Farang means not from Thailand, right? Outsider is what literally it means, foreigner. So, for a Farang single guy who wants to come to Thailand, what the deal is the Thai men, and I've kind of referred to this before in other videos, but I always said I'll do it in another video. So let's talk about Thai men, because Thai men directly lead to why the dating opportunities for Farang or expats are here in Thailand. Thai men like to drink. Thai men like to gamble. Thai men tend to, and okay, first of all, let me back up. So anytime you say this is true about a group, whatever this might be, okay, you're incorrect, in that there's always going to be somebody in that group that doesn't apply to. So when I say Thai men, I'm talking about the majority of Thai men, not all Thai men, because I'd be incorrect. Obviously, are there some good Thai guys who don't do these things? Absolutely. I've met them. I know some of them, but a lot of Thai men, I would say over 50%, right? I don't know the exact percentage, but over 50% of Thai men drink, to the point of getting drunk. There's something called, what's it called, how cow or how lao or cow lao. I forget the name of it, but it's basically moonshine. It's just like rot gut whiskey, high proof. You can get it in small bottles at 7-Eleven, and the Thai men get a bottle, share it, drink it, and they get all, fucked up. So that happens a lot. They're peacocks. What do I mean by that? They're very proud. They're extremely proud Thai men. And they will date or marry and impregnate a beautiful Thai woman. Thai women are known around the world for being, absolutely stunning and gorgeous. Lots and lots and lots of pretty women here. I did a thing the other day on the hospital, just going for a routine checkup, and how many gorgeous petite women worked at the hospital, and that's normal. That's not weird. What you saw in that video, there's lots and lots of pretty women with really good bodies here in Thailand. So the Thai men who are so lucky that we're born here, born in paradise, beautiful beaches, islands, mountains, just amazing scenery, amazing food, very cool culture. They had all that handed to them, and instead of appreciating it, they take advantage of it and just feel like it's their due and things like that. It's an interesting way to deal with a hand like that you've been dealt. So, as I said, I dated a woman here for a year, and her husband hit her in front of their child, their 6 or 7-year-old child, hurt the child, because she tried to interfere and stop daddy from beating up mommy. He drank, he cheated on her with her best friend at work, which caused her loss of face, shame, and embarrassment, and she had to resign from the job. So he cheated on her, but she had to resign. That's Thailand. That's the way it works. It's strange to us as foreigners, but it's their culture. So once again, the Thai man, what did the husband do? He married a beautiful girl, 17 years old, virgin, obviously, tiny little thing, and he didn't give it, he popped out 2 babies, and now looking for fresh. I want something new. It's not good enough to have a beautiful young bride. I want more. I'm a Thai man. Okay? Drank, got drunk, beat her, as I mentioned, gambled, which is a kind of a Southeast Asian thing too, not just Thailand, but the men love to gamble. And they drive like fucking idiots. If you drive here, you'll see what I mean. They're just cut in and out on their motorcycles in front of traffic. You know, you watch out for them. If they're in a truck, which if you're not on a motorcycle, Thai man is usually in a pickup truck because it's big and mighty and macho, and it makes him feel better about himself. They'll drive very slow because they're scared. You know, they're scared. To them, 80 kilometers an hour, which is 50 miles an hour, which is nothing in the States. You know, we go 70, 80, 100 miles per hour. If you go 80 kilometers an hour here in the fast lane, there'll be a Thai guy in a truck in front of you. So you go to pass them, and they'll speed up because they're Thai man. They're peacocks. They're very proud. They don't want you to pass them. They're scared to go more than 50 miles an hour, but they will increase their speed to make sure you don't get by them. Now let's talk about the motorcycles. 26,000 motorcycle deaths a year in this country. They got everything closed down because of COVID right now. What do they got, 100 deaths, 110 deaths out of 70 million people? They closed the whole fucking country down. Meanwhile, every year for the last, as long as they've been keeping count, they've had over 20,000 motorcycle deaths, not accidents, died at the scene of the accident a year, every year. That's Thai men. They just cut in and out and cut. You got to watch out for them. They're Thai man, right? It makes perfect sense to them. And you're left going, what the hell are they doing? Why are they doing that? So, because Thai men are like that, this is not a video to beat up on Thai men. And like I said, are there a lot who are not like that? Yes, absolutely. There's good, husbands, good boyfriends, good people who are Thai men. But a lot of Thai men behave the way I described. What's that got to do with us? Well, because of that, more and more and more Thai women are either choosing to be single and say, I'm not going to get impregnated by this guy because I know he's going to leave me or cheat on me or beat me. So I'm not going to go with him. I'll rather choose to be alone. And there's a lot of Thai women who are just alone. Others, a lot, you can verify this by looking at the Thai dating sites, Thai women, are, I'm going to get a Farang. So in the 1960s, a little history lesson here, when American soldiers were in Vietnam, it was a very popular destination when they were on R&R, when they got pulled off the front line and got to, rest and recuperate and chill out. They wanted to party. They wanted to drink beer. They wanted to be with girls, party. Back in the 60s and now that hasn't changed. Guys like pretty women. So a lot of them would come to Bangkok. They'd hop on a quick flight to Bangkok, Thailand from, Korea, so Jesus Christ, from Vietnam, from South Vietnam, and party here. And very quickly there is an area of Bangkok that got go-go bars where GIs could come and spend their money, buy beers, buy drinks, meet ladies, and have sex with them. So that kind of started it. That was laid the groundwork for what Thailand has become today, which, first of all, is there a sex trade? Yeah, there's 300,000 registered sex workers, with the government, even though prostitution's illegal. There's a lot of flexibility in Thailand. So 300,000 girls before COVID made their living selling their body, right? So it's there. Now, is that all there is to Thailand? No. There's 70 million people who live here. Let's say half are women, 35 million. It's actually higher than that. There's more Thai women than men, which also plays into what we're talking about today. But let's just say it's half. So out of 35 million women, 300,000 are registered sex workers in the whole country. That leaves, 34.7 million, and once again, it's more, that are not sex workers. So there's lots and lots of beautiful Thai women who are not bar girls or massage parlor girls or whatever. But, starting in the 60s, there is a large number of Thai women who that's their job. That's how they make money, is entertaining foreigners. And so that got to the point, fast forward to 2019, where there's a website called Thai Cupid, like the little fat baby that shoots the arrows, right? ThaiCupid.com. That's their sort of Match.com, or what's the other big one? eHarmony.com back in the States. It's a dating site. and you have women on there. Now, are they bar girls? Some of them probably, yeah. Maybe they want to get out of the bar scene, or maybe they're looking for a customer. I don't know. You got to ask them. But the majority of the women on there are not bar girls. They work in offices, they work in hotels, they work in factories, they work in restaurants, they work in malls. They're just regular girls who are specifically looking for a Farang. Thai men don't go on ThaiCupid.com. Farang do, right? For foreigners. So they're looking for that. The women on ThaiCupid, and then once again, there's millions of women out of the 35 or 40, 50 million, whatever it is. I'll look up the population at some point, men to women, but I just know it's more women than men right now. Some of them choose to be alone. Some of them choose to get on ThaiCupid and look for a Farang. More work in the hospital, work in the mall, work here, and are not on ThaiCupid. But if they're approached by a Farang who's friendly and chats, talks to them, takes them out coffee or lunch, they're open to dating a Farang. They might not be online, but they're okay with the idea. A lot of women are like that, actually. I can't put a number on it, but over 1 million in this country are working women who are just busy living their life, but they're open to the idea of dating a foreigner. Why? Because we have a better reputation than Thai men at this point, and that's been earned through their actions over time. Drunk, beating their women. Are there American guys who get drunk? Yeah. Are there American guys who beat their women? Fucking disgusting scumbags, but yeah, they exist. There are wife beaters. Usually they wind up in jail and becoming somebody's bitch, which is awesome karma. But the point is, they are among us, but it's not the majority. You wouldn't say the majority of American or European men beat their women and get drunk and cheat on their women, right? So we have a good reputation, and there's lots of Americans and lots of Europeans and lots of Chinese and Japanese and Korean guys who have come to Thailand, businessmen, and they meet these girls and they fall in love because they're amazing. They're polite. They've got great personalities. They're beautiful. They're petite. Which, if you're a guy you like petite, this is the place to come. The average height here is a little bit under 5'2". It's amazing to me. I mean, my ex-wife in America was 5'3", and I like smaller women. I just do. And here, I'm surrounded by them. I'm drowning in them. It's amazing. It's really, really cool. When I say they're polite too, when I'm in the store and I'm looking at the shelves for an item and a Thai woman walks by, she'll bow down her head like people trying to get out of a picture when you're taking a picture. And I was like, oh man, it actually made me kind of feel uncomfortable, because it's like, they're polite, I get it, but that's like weird. Like, don't bow before me. I'm no better than you. I'm just some big fat goofball American. Then in the hospital for the first time the other day, when I saw Thai women walk by, and Thai men walk by other Thai people, they did the same thing. They kind of hunch over a little bit. They bow a little bit when they're crossing paths. It's just a Thai thing. It's just their culture. They're very polite. So I felt better about the whole thing after I saw them do it to other Thais too. It's just like, oh, okay, that's their culture. They're polite people. I knew that. There's a word, ka, for women and kap for men. And polite conversation is everything you say to another person. You end it with kap if you're a guy, you end it with ka if you're a woman. So when you're walking, down the mall, ladies in the kiosks, we're selling stuff, will go, somebody ka. The ka is polite. It's like calling somebody sir or ma'am. It's polite. It's a polite form of speaking to somebody, greeting somebody, whatever. So every time, the Thais use it all the time. You'll hear kap and ka at the end of almost every sentence because they're very polite people. So what's that mean if you're dating them? And remember, I just came off a 1-year relationship dating a Thai woman. And the Thai women, as opposed to Farang women, in my experience in the West, I lived in the West 56 years. So I was married 10 years. I dated another girl 5 years. I dated another woman 9 months. Another woman 6 months. So 2 women actually 6 months. So, and the rest was freelancing, whatever. So I have a pretty good handle on Farang women and their attitudes. Farang women for a very long time, especially in America where I'm from, are very intent on being seen as equal. And some guys like to be the alpha male and dominate in a relationship, and they want a dependent woman. Some guys want a partner. I've actually always looked for somebody I consider my equal and a partner, and would treat them that way. But American women became so focused on that, I think they lost a lot of their femininity. It's like something's got to give. You can't be everything to everybody, including yourself. So, you know, they got an edge to them. There's a little nastiness. You know, some people call it bitch. Just there's an edge there. Women, when I was younger, were soft, and that was desirable. Men were hard, women were soft, and it was like a good match, and we complemented each other. Women don't want to be soft. If you tell a woman she's soft now, instead of being complimented, she'll be pissed off. She'll get very angry at you. You know, fuck you, I can do anything you can do. Well, yeah, but why would you want to? Why would you want to be masculine? You're a woman. And, you know, we got all this crap going on with the gender or whatever. I identify as this and all that fucking nonsense. And a lot of it, I think, came from that movement. And should women be paid the same as men if they do the same job? Absolutely. I'm 1,000% behind that. But that's not this. Somewhere in that fight for equality, American women lost their way, in my opinion. So due to actions they have taken, like American car makers taking action or no action and not being competitive in the 70s and 80s, the result is American men are seeking other partners, you know, outside of America. And the same thing for European men, and once again, the same thing for other outside Thailand. Farang, I'll just keep using the word for Farang because it fits. It fits. Outside men from outside Thailand are coming and seeking the companionship, not just temporary sex trade, but permanent companionship or long-term companionship with Thai women. And getting back to the relationship I had, you know, for a year, she took care of me. She took very good care of me. That no American woman would do that because she would see it as demeaning beneath her. You know, I'm not your maid. No, you're not, but you're my partner and lover. So what do you bring to the table? I mean, it's not a business deal, but that's a fair question to ask. I'm financially supporting us and doing this and doing that. What are you bringing to the table? Well, I have a job. I'll support us too. Okay, great. So I have to do some more of, you know, the whatever domestic chores, cooking, cleaning, and I cook, so that's not a problem for me. But will you too? Well, no. I don't want to do that. That's demeaning. That's beneath me. Okay. But and you know what? It's sort of like Americans don't want to work for less than $15 an hour now, but a lot of them aren't qualified to earn $15 an hour. But they want it regardless. They want to be paid more than they're worth. It's kind of the same thing. We're expected to deal with this new age woman, this new normal thing, and we're choosing not to. We being people who are moving out of the country and going to Costa Rica or Mexico or Belize or Vietnam or Philippines or Cambodia or Thailand or, you know, wherever, anywhere other than America. We're leaving in droves, men are, because we can find here what we can't find at home, which is a woman being very happy to take the traditional role of a caregiver, and we take the traditional role of supporter, you know, hunter-gatherer supporter, going back, you know, hundreds of years, thousands of years. That's what guys traditionally did, and most of us are comfortable in that role. Some of the younger generation today, 20s, 30s, aren't comfortable in that role. You know, they shave their chest hair and wear man buns and skinny jeans and whatever. It's just, they're not comfortable in that traditional role. So you've got some definitely non-traditional relationships these days, and whatever makes them happy, that's cool. What I'm trying to explain is why so many men come to Thailand and places like it, and it's because the women, the culture is different here. The women behave differently. They don't feel it's beneath them at all, you know, to take care of a man. In fact, most Thai women right now, if they're single, are taking care of their fathers. Why? Because it's their culture. Not because they're not liberated or empowered like American women. It's because they're perfectly content in that role. It gives them a purpose, and they like doing it. They enjoy it. If they didn't enjoy it, they wouldn't do it. Once again, a lot of Thai women are sitting on the sidelines right now rather than date Thai men because they choose not to date Thai men and everything that goes with it. So Thai Cupid I mentioned. There's some other ones. AsianDating.com. I think just Google it. If you're interested, if you're a Farang and want to come to Thailand. I would recommend not marrying anybody. Sounds crazy, but guys get carried away. They find a woman who's like this, unlike whatever they've ever met in America, and they go crazy and they want to marry them. Do what I did. Wait a year. Wait 12 months, 4 seasons, right? Live a year with the girl of your dreams that you want to put a ring on her finger so friggin' fast, and time will tell whether she's the right person for you. Is she going to be polite? Yeah, most Thais are. Is she going to be kind of religious, Buddhist? Yeah, a lot of Thais are. Is she going to be cute and petite? Yeah, most Thai women are. But that doesn't mean she's right for you. You can't let the fact that Thai women are so amazing and beautiful and sweet make you make a bad mistake as far as marrying somebody. All that stuff is great, and that's what you're looking for. That's what I was looking for, but it's got to be the right, sweet, kind, beautiful lady. And there's so many here you can't comprehend. When I did my search on Thai Cupid, and I searched for under, 5'2" or 3, I didn't realize that was the average height of the nation. You know what I mean? And I got 200 responses in the first week looking like this. In fact, I was fatter. I'm 260 pounds now. After a year in country, I was 300 pounds in America, like my bacon. You know what I mean? So 300 pounds, glasses, gray hair, standing near Tony the Tiger in a fucking Walmart. That was the picture I used on my profile. Put my proper age. I didn't lie about my age like a lot of American women do on dating sites. And I got flooded with responses from some unbelievably beautiful women, and they were all 5 foot, 5'1". The girl I dated was 4'9". 4'9". I mean, he's fucking miniature. And 90 pounds. I mean, tiny, just petite. If you like petite, they are here. There's lots of them here. So don't fall in love is my best advice. Don't jump and marry and put a ring on the girl's finger. She'll be pushing for that because they want stability. So I talked about Thai women taking care of you. What's in it for them? They want to get married. That is their main goal. They will bring it up if you don't. Eventually they'll, when you're going to put a ring on it, buddy, they'll say it in a nice way. Thais are not confrontational at all. So understand that's what she wants. That's what's in it for her, is a Farang husband. That's her dream. That's why she's on Thai Cupid. That's what she wants. Now, by all means, if checks off all the boxes, and you spend a year with her, and that's your woman, and you're going to spend the next 30, 40, 50 years with her, marry her. By all means, do it. It makes the visa situation here easier. There's a marriage visa. It requires half as much in the bank as the retirement visa, blah, 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 blah. Do it. Do it for love. Do it for all the other benefits of having a Thai partner. And while Thailand is a Western tourist-driven country, it's much, much easier to live here and get things done with a Thai partner who speaks, fluent Thai, because they live here. And the other hint I would give you in searching for somebody online, or come here and live and meet them walking around, which is another recommendation of mine, is find one who speaks English, at least a little bit. You don't need somebody who's fluent in English, although that would help. And the reason for that is communication in a relationship is key. And if you can't communicate with them other than through a translator, which gets the words wrong, and I would be talking to my ex sometimes, while we were dating, and she would say something blah 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 blah, blah in Thai, and hand me the Google Translator and be like, the captain doesn't like the cat jumping and dancing. It's like, what? Who the fuck is the captain, and what cat, and what? It wouldn't get her words. Google isn't smart enough to have a 100% translation rate. So when I would see nonsense sentences like that made no sense and had nothing to do with what we were talking about, I would realize, hey, sometimes when I'm speaking English and feeling that I'm communicating directly to her with what I want to say, I'm not. She's getting gobbledygook in Thai like I sometimes get gobbledygook in English, because Google Translator, it works in a general sense. It's good in a pinch, but there's no substitute for her understanding what you're saying in English and a little bit you understanding what she says in Thai, right? Something, you got to learn a few Thai words. Makes things easier. So that's important too, is that the more English she speaks, the better the communication in your relationship will be. That's simple, right? So that's something to look for. And then, on TiCupid, there's filters. How tall do you want to look for? How heavy do you want to look for? Hell, there's breast size. Well, I didn't check that off, but you can search by breast size. I mean, TiCupid it's set up for Farang to find Thai women who want to be with Farang. That's their dream. And I talk in all the other videos about money, so I'm not going to talk about it here. Just suffice it to say that you don't have to be a player in the United States to be a player here. And what I mean is your money goes a lot further. So you might be living in an apartment for $600 to $800 a month. That's not a millionaire by any means. You might make $10 or $20 an hour at your job. So you're not rich in the United States. In fact, you're probably just getting by, especially if you're on the $10 an hour. $10 an hour, if you can make the equivalent over here, if you can somehow rig it that you've got money coming from your home country into Thailand, $10 an hour, which is not that much, you'll live like, not like a king here, but your standard of living will be much higher. That puts you above a lot of Thai men. Remember, the standard average salary for Thai people, men and women, is 350 baht a day. That's a little over $10 a day. So if you can manage to get $10 an hour income, you're wealthy compared to their standards, comparatively compared to them, to a Thai man. So you don't beat your women, you don't drink, you don't gamble, you don't cheat on your women, and you make, 10 times as much or whatever, 8 times as much, you know what I mean? You've got more money than they do, and you're not rich in your country, but here, that buying power, I mean, pad Thai costs $10 or $12 in the States, it costs 40 baht here. So a little over $1, less than $2, right, for pad Thai. So your money goes further in the supermarket, in the street malls, restaurants, housing. I pay $260 for this condo. So now all of a sudden you can easily take care of a girl and her family for $100 a month here, 3,000 baht. You can send money home to her mom and dad, family, take care of her, take her out to some restaurants, pay for your overhead. I mean, more is better, but you can definitely get by with $100 a month here, which is crazy. You can't live anywhere in the United States for $100 a month, and there's places here for $50 a month, and you have another 50 for food. And more is better. I mean, 10,000 baht, 300 bucks. $300 a month, which is dirt cheap in the States, gets you a pretty nice living here, right? So that is why you're attracted to a Thai woman, because you'll never ever work here or generate, $10 a day in income. That's just, you wouldn't even consider it. It's not worth getting out of bed for you for that. Whereas their husbands are used to making that, and that's once again the average. Do some make more than average? Sure. Do some make less than average or nothing? Yeah. Yeah, a lot of Thai men sit home and drink and make their women go work. So here you come, and you can see where by comparing yourself to a Thai man, you understand why so many women are going to message you and write you. You're seen as a savior, right? And all you have to do is treat them right. Just treat them like a human being, and you're way ahead of the game. Don't beat them. Don't cheat on them. Don't go and get drunk every frigging night of the week, or sit home and just drink rock gut whiskey. That's easy to do. I mean, if that's you, stay at home. They got plenty of that here. If it's not you, like it wasn't me, come here. It's fucking paradise. You'll love it. So that's my tips on dating a Thai woman. They're amazing. They're beautiful. They've got the right attitude. They're okay being women. They're comfortable in their own skin. And what's funny is I think American women and European women at some point will come to the same realization and reverse a lot of what they've done. Because, being a man or being more man-like should never be the goal of a woman. Thai women get that. Farang women don't. And that's why thousands and thousands, 500,000 expats plus live in Thailand. And most of them are hooked up with a Thai woman. And the reason for that is what I talked about in this video. So, if you're thinking about it, this is the place. But as I said, don't marry them. Don't make that huge mistake in marrying them prematurely. So and even better is to come here first. Come here solo, stag, unattached. Come here without a girlfriend. Get the lay of the land. Figure out a place to live, and then start dating. And just like it back home. There's no reason to do dating different here. And you'll go to the mall for the first time for lunch, and you'll just see, thousands of gorgeous women, and you'll be like, oh, it's not just that one who wrote me back online. They're all over the place. And unlike America, those gorgeous women will give you the time of day when you talk to them. They're polite, remember, so you can approach a Thai girl and say, hey, how you doing? I'm Doug, how are you? What are you? And they will talk to you. That doesn't mean they're going to go home and sleep with you, but they will talk to you. Whereas in America, fuck you, you creep. I don't know, you get away from me. That's what I'm talking about with how American women, in my experience, and I think Farang women in general, have kind of caused the situation by their attitudes, right? Get the fuck away from me. They won't even talk to a guy. That's on them, right? That's their choice. But Thai women will talk to you. Now, once again, she might politely decline advancing a relationship, or she might have a coffee with you, even though you look like this and she looks like a fucking model, right? It's the way it is here. That's why so many guys come here. So, recommend coming first. If you don't do that, and you do an online relationship, and I love you, and I love you, and great. Just do not put a ring on the finger. Do not get engaged until you spent minimum 6 months. I recommend 12 months, a year, with that person, and really get to know them. That's my 2 cents. I hope it helps, guys. Talk to you later.